I won't ride the wave. You fuck out my face.
Watch this. Welcome back, everybody, to the Controversity. I'm your host, Elliott-Carter, and as you know, lately, last 10 years, there's been like this boom, this renaissance of superhero movies, kind of like the westerns were back in the day. It's just back to back to back, and we're talking great movies for our decade. But the top tier ones usually are the Marvel movies and the DC movies. And as great as they are, I want to talk about, are we getting tired of these? Or, maybe we want to see something outside of that. Is there any ones that are better than the Marvel or the DC movies? Let's find out. But today I want to introduce you guys not only one of the best YouTubers I've seen and met and know.
You mean
but
the
one
best.
of my actual favorite YouTubers.
The best, bro.
You know this guy from Dragon Ball content. You know this guy from just other pop culture and movie stuff. From Geekdom101 and the world of geekdom, I bring to you Mr. Danny, a.k.a. Geekdom101. Welcome to the show, Danny.
The best, bro. Not one of the best. See, I'm saying that with very much my tongue firmly placed in my cheek, but they'll cut that out and they'll say that I'm an egomaniac. So if Kobe Bryant says that he's the best, right, all of a sudden he's beloved by everybody. But if I say it, I can't say it. Oh, my gosh. Oh. Anyways, it's just jokes. Yes, I'm happy to be here talking about superhero fatigue, if it exists and if it doesn't.
Absolutely. Well, before we start, I want to ask you, what has been, your favorite, superhero movie of the last decade? Because I just recently did a video on this. I want to see your opinion.
Well, the last decade would be 2010 to 2019, not before then. So I actually think my favorite, it's gotta be something, okay. It's a toss-up, bro. I'm actually kind of conflicted on this because Avengers Endgame was powerful. Avengers Infinity War was probably slightly more fun than Avengers Endgame, I would say. But then you've also got another movie that I loved. I really, really loved Thor Ragnarok. I mean, I really loved it. Also, do you count Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse?
Absolutely. That was actually my number one.
Yeah, I can't pick between those because I find so much enjoyment in those movies. I mean, I hate to give you a cop-out answer, but it's going to be something around those, honestly.
Absolutely. I agree with that. I would definitely put Infinity War, Spider-Verse, and even Logan I would drop in that gym.
That's right. I totally forgot about Logan. And also Deadpool was after 2010, right? So I would throw that one in there, too.
Absolutely, yeah. Deadpool was very groundbreaking, but the similar things that we've all mentioned, these are all DC, these are all Marvel movies, and we'll get into some original stuff that's outside of those worlds in a second. But question for you, Mr. Danny: do you think superhero movies and comic book movies in general, do you think we're getting too much of them right now, or do you think fatigue is setting in for you personally?
Well, it's interesting because when Avengers Age of Ultron came out, I had a discussion with a couple of my friends about this, and we're discussing, when is this superhero bubble going to pop? Around that time, we started getting a lot of hype for Batman v Superman, and then we started hearing about Phase 3. This is years ago, 2015, and we started hearing about the big plans going forward, and then Fox has their X-Men verse, so there was a lot coming in, but so at that time I thought that yes, I felt like after Infinity War, because back then Endgame was called Infinity War Part 2 is before they renamed it, I thought that would be the end of superhero films for at least some time, and I thought they would actually take a break from it, but no, we got Far From Home right after, then we got Black Widow coming up, and we have a bunch of TV shows. I think here's the key factor. Do I think there's superhero fatigue? Right now, the answer is no. Will there be superhero fatigue by the end of Phase 4? I think it's possible because they peaked so well with Endgame. Endgame was built up so masterfully. The biggest movie of all time, made the most money. Not inflation, just, overall general dollars. And I feel like as long as they keep telling good stories, as long as we have good performances, because I was skeptical about Far From Home, and then Jake Gyllenhaal killed it. Tom Holland killed it. And Joker. Very skeptical about Joker, and that movie just blew my mind. It was a masterpiece. As long as we have movies like that are willing to take the superhero genre and either give us great performances, a great story, or something totally different, or maybe all three wrapped into one, I think that it can last. I think we have to be thinking outside the box more. I think movies like Logan and Deadpool are great examples. You have R-rated superhero movies, a little bit more serious. You can also have, more of the PG stuff like Into the Spider-Verse. But Spider-Verse had a great story and great characters. As long as you have great stories and great characters and great writers, I think the superhero, success will continue. However, I do feel that there may be a slight decline in the coming years. I'm not saying they're going to tank, but there's a slight decline. Plus, the law of averages will tell you that at some point we're going to get a flop. Not because I want them to flop, but just the law of averages. MCU's got, I think, 23 movies now? When they get to like 50, between those next, 25 or whatever we have coming up that we don't even know about yet, one's going to be a flop at some point. Like, I feel like there has just the law of averages. So that could put a dent in it. But I feel like as long as they keep, because it can't go on forever. This cannot go on forever. Kevin Feige is a mortal human being. He's going to die eventually. We just need people that have good visions to keep the stories going. But I think it will continue because superhero movies, there's only 6 different ways to tell a story. I think I read that somewhere, only 6 different stories. And superhero movies, the reason why they're so successful, I think, is because they tap into not only us as children, like, grown children looking back on our childhood, but the inspiration to do great things and be great people, and they're able to save lives and get recognition for it and get glory for it, but also feel good about themselves and be an actual hero. I think in life we all want to be our hero, whether it be to our children, whether it be to ourselves, to our wives, to our husbands, whatever you're into, and I feel like the movies will always resonate with us powerfully, I think, as long as they keep those themes going and as long as they tell us good stories. So there's my long-winded answer to your question.
Man, I love those Geekdom little rants. I love it, and you're absolutely right. I do agree that as long as there's good storytelling, good character development, yes, and movies like DC movies and Marvel movies, they have so much like in their lores when it comes to different universes, multiverses, so many stories, endless stories on characters we've all heard that are commercial, and even some like the Guardians of the Galaxy that barely anybody knew anything about. And then, of course, we fell in love with these characters due to movie magic. But one thing, though, I'll say in my personal answer, I do think that we can go on for a little bit, and, of course, there will be a drop eventually. But my thing is now I'm more intrigued, of course, like with the Eternals coming out, I'm more intrigued of, like, some of the non-commercial stuff. I've enjoyed The Boys on Amazon. I enjoyed Umbrella Academy on Netflix.
And don't forget movies like Brightburn. Brightburn is again taking some risks.
Exactly. And I think also when you mention movies like Brightburn, they're so a little bit more grounded. And you mentioned Joker and you mentioned like Into the Spider-Verse. There's not like a universal problem going on. It's more of like it's in the town situation, and I think that might be the factor that's going to help superhero movies in the future, because what more can you do after you snapped and killed half of humanity?
I mean, that's the thing. They have to tell smaller stories too. Daredevil, people love Daredevil, and you don't have crazy powers. Again, The Dark Knight is probably the most celebrated superhero movie of all time, and it's not like, people are snapping and, cosmic forces and infinity stones. So I think there's different layers to it. I do feel that way. But again, we're going to be going through some interesting times coming up because we're going to have at 1.3 MCU movies in theaters, plus 2 or 3 TV shows going at once. There may be some fatigue, but also the TV shows, they're going to try to hammer home that the TV shows are going to be, canon, which they are. But, I mean, they may not be crucial. Like, in other words, some of the casuals might not even watch the shows, which is bad because Feige has said that the shows are going to tie into the movie. The shows are almost like important. The shows are important to the story, according to what Feige said. We'll find out. Obviously, we'll know in a few years, really, when we look back on it. But there might be some fatigue coming up, but I don't sense it yet. I think we have to wait to see how the numbers do.
We absolutely have to see, but that is a good fact. I didn't even mention Disney Plus though, but like the fact that people have to follow certain storylines on television,
right,
and in the movies and stuff like that, it could cause issues. But
I'm excited for it though. I'm excited.
Yeah, exactly. For hardcore fans like us, we're like, nah, keep them coming. But I also mentioned like original stuff that's not like tied into any crazy universe or with the head honchos. What can you name some of your favorite like non-Marvel and non-DC movies that's ever came out that are superhero movies?
I could name actually 3 movies that are they're non-DC, non-Marvel. not only are they classic films, we're talking about actual masterpiece cinema here, but they're also movies that always get forgotten on the top like lists of people in their favorite hero movies, because like you said, DC and Marvel have kind of drowned, and again, there's a reason why. They're the two biggest comic book companies, but the movies have sort of overtaken and monopolized the the cinema world. But there's 3 movies that I think are absolute classics. 2 of them I really think are classics. One is still a great movie no matter what. Dark Man with Liam Neeson is an amazing freaking film. The Crow. To me, The Crow with Brandon Lee is better than almost any MCU movie. I'm not gonna say any, but almost any. No, it is. That is a fantastic movie stylistically. Alex Proyas directed it, I believe. Stylistically, performance-wise, story-wise, concept-wise, aesthetic-wise, the world that was created, and The Crow is just, it's tear-jerkingly good. And then the third movie is the original 1990 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That film is a classic. I will put that film against any of the MCU movies. I'm not saying it's better than Endgame or better than, Guardians of the Galaxy, even though I like it more. But the things they accomplished with that film, plus the director of that movie didn't even direct movies until that movie. He directed the Take On Me video and the Billie Jean video. 2 of the best videos of the 80s, dog, point blank. And he goes and does TMNT 90. And I will stack those movies against any of the modern stuff. And I'm not saying that Batman 89 is not great and Dark Knight, but these movies I think need to be talked about in the same breath as the other ones.
I actually just showed my son the Secret of the Ooze.
Oh God, that's the cheesier sequel.
Go Ninja, go Ninja, go. But I like to name a couple of mine too. I mentioned The Boys and Umbrella Academy. Those are television shows, but I'm loving the adaptation from the graphic novels. I think they're doing a great job with that. But I'll name a couple movies too. V for Vendetta is one of my favorites, even though it's like loosely based off of the novel. It's like a very different, but I think they did a really good job with that one. That's more of a he's not really a superhero. He's more of an anti-hero. Snowpiercer that just recently came out is so good.
Do you count Blank Man?
I do count Blank Man.
All right.
He's one of our first superheroes, if you know what I'm saying.
Right.
Blank Man and Meteor Man. Look at you. Okay.
Yeah.
This brother got soul. I respect that. And another black superhero. Let's talk about Spawn. That's another good one.
Oh, I forgot to mention. Oh, thank you. All right. Spawn 97. I don't know what people's problem is with that film. That movie, dude, Michael J. White is incredible as Earl or whatever. Dude, John Leguizamo as the clown, as Vindicator, is amazing. I mean, like, that's the top John Leguizamo performance. And then you got Martin Sheen, playing Jason with the Heat 16 virus. That movie, especially the director's cut. You need to watch the director's cut version of that film. Dude, thank you for bringing that movie up. Dude, that movie, I remember watching it in theaters being mesmerized because it looks like they took the comic and brought it to life. The scene where he's falling down the building and his cape comes out.
Oh, with the cape, yeah, the red, yeah.
That's the comics. I'm like, looking at it like, what is this? Like, and they did it in 97 before like the modern era of CGI.
Absolutely, very ahead of its time. I mean, there's some parts where the CGI didn't hold up, but like for the most part, the outline, absolutely so ahead. You're watching this in '96, you're like, holy.
And 97, and then also the fight with Violator and Spawn, and the way he's doing it just looks so good. I mean, Malboja looks like crap. I agree with you. That's bad CGI. But when you see like Vindicator slamming Spawn to the ground, the claws coming out of his body, it's the damn comic, bro. Like that's when you show respect to the source material.
Absolutely, and that was even before Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. So yeah, that and Blade might have been some of the best comic book movies to ever come out before
the MCU.
The X-Men.
Yeah, that was a lot. Spider-Man was after X-Men. X-Men then Spider-Man. But you're right, Blade was around that time too. Yeah, that was the pre-MCU era, which I think people. I mean, we all know it existed, but I think people forget how good it was. But the MCU just made everything tie in together real nicely. But those movies still, I think hold up.
Absolutely. And I'll name one more movie that I feel like is one of my favorite comic book movies that is not connected to the DCU or the Marvel or DC comics, and that's Wanted. I thought Wanted was a very underrated comic book movie, and I've always wanted a sequel to it. You remember Wanted when they curved the bullets and stuff like that? There was a
I don't remember that movie actually. I mean, I've seen it. Wanted.
Wanted starred James McAvoy, Morgan Freeman, and Angelina
Well,
Jolie.
now I want to see it because I love James McAvoy, and of course, who doesn't like Morgan Freeman? So
Absolutely, it's a very good movie, and it was like after the Matrix, so some of the technology with the bullets was just like you could tell it was inspired by that.
right.
But yeah, man, I really appreciate you coming on and having this conversation. Like I said, I've been an admirer of your work for a while. I a lot of my stuff's inspired by the things you do, and I'm blessed to finally have met you in person. You're a very cool guy, and I can talk nerdy shit with you all day, bro.
All day, man. I appreciate it, man, and for sure, it was a good being here. And if you ever need me to come back, just let me know, and I'll come back. Not a problem.
Right on, man. Well, do your plugs, man. If you don't know Geekdom101, I don't know where you've been on YouTube. Where can you find you? Where can we find Geekdom?
Geekdom101. That's it. Just search for Geekdom101. It will come up first. It better. And World of Geekdom, of course. Two channels. Geekdom101 is anime mostly. World of Geekdom is movies, sports, life, video games, everything else.
Yeah, he does this thing called Speakdom where he gives a lot of advice and stuff like that from past.
I just talk. Yeah, I just talk about whatever's on my mind. It's much more real. Geekdom101 is more professional, more commercialized. That's by design. World of Geekdom is much more like the real me. But there's movie reviews on World of Geekdom, and they're honest ones too. None of this SJW, Rotten Tomatoes crap. Like, they're real reviews for real movie fans.
Absolutely. Thank you again, Danny, for being on. All right, if you guys like this video, please like and share, subscribe to the channel, and also let us know what your favorite movie is that's not connected to the DC or MCU movies. And also, do you think superhero fatigue is a thing? Let us know in the comments. Let us know in the comments.
Comics, yes.
Love, peace, and chicken grease.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Say yeah, yeah, yeah. Good vibes make it say yeah, yeah, yeah. Say yeah, yeah, yeah. We gon' party all the day long now. We gon' party all the day long. We gon' party all the day long now. We gon' party all the day long.
Till we lose track of the time.